we also know when we talk about so many festivals out there, there is a lot of music theme cruises out there. This is the first year they've done one branded with Megadeth and the Megacruise. You now know, and if you listen to the broadcasts that I did from the ship Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of last week, you now know, of course, that Dave Mustaine did not actually even go to L.A. and get on the ship in any way. Leading into the cruise, there was rampant speculation as to what, if anything, Dave was going to be able to do, given he is battling cancer and dealing with treatments. And at this point, my understanding would be the aftermath of the treatments, the residual effects, because I was in touch with Dave, and the treatments seem to be behind him, but anybody that's gone through those treatments, there's obviously certainly a hangover effect that can go on for years, actually. We now know that, unfortunately, and probably wisely, Dave did not even make the trip and was not on the cruise at all. The other guys in Megadeth were. I don't know Dirk, the drummer in Megadeth. He's relatively new to the band. I know Kiko, but I didn't see him. And I certainly know David Ellefson extremely well, and he's a friend, and he's been on this show countless times, and he was on with us from the cruise for a little bit on one of the days. So everybody made the best of it that it could be. And I got to tell you, I think that in talking to the fans and being out there as I was on the entire cruise and meeting people and talking with people, everyone had a great time, and everybody completely understood, as much as it sucked that they didn't get a Megadeth show, understood that guy's dealing with a really severe, concerning medical issue and err on the side of caution. And if you've ever been on a cruise, even if it's just a vacation cruise, not a music-related cruise, it's pretty hard to not have a great time on a cruise ship, no matter what you want to make of it. Whether it's you're a nonstop partier or whether somebody just wants to sleep. Or somewhere in between. And you can really make what you want. Food, drink, whatever. Activities. So I think people had a great time. I really do. I didn't meet anybody who didn't. And to the fans' great credit, I didn't meet anybody who even complained to me about Mustaine not being on the ship. That's not for a minute to say he wasn't sorely missed. And, of course, everybody would have preferred seeing Megadeth. But when you got Anthrax and Lamb of God and Testament and Overkill and Death Angel and Dragon Force and John 5 and all these artists, Queensryche, it was like a classic metal fantasy trip, man. People loved it. And some really cool jams highlighted by, for me, the Kiss jam, which was a late-night thing in the theater, and I introed, and David Ellefson put together, Charlie Benanti from Anthrax, Frank Bello from Anthrax, also who were on this show from the ship, just and a bunch of rotating different musicians, from Chuck Billy to Blitz from Overkill, just killed it. So much fun doing all sorts of classic Kiss tunes. Chuck and Calico from Beasto, just a great time. So overall, that's the best I can. I mean, that's really because I broadcast from it. So every day you heard from the ship. So if you're a regular listener, there's nothing more I can really tell you about the cruise because you heard me broadcast from it the days that I was on it. The biggest thing for me was I ended up getting on it at all because I ended up getting on a day late in San Diego, but thanks to Larry and his team and everybody there that puts those cruises on, they made it work for me to get on. But the fans were great. I hosted a lot of cool events. I did the radio show. Almost every band on it I know or have history with, and it turned out to be really a great, fun time. And we'll see what the future holds for that particular cruise going forward. So then from there, I flew to Tulsa and hosted a show with Last in Line, which, of course, features Vivian Campbell and Vinny Appice on Saturday night at the IDL Ballroom downtown Tulsa, where I've done so many shows and always have a great time, and so many great rock fans that are there. And I got to tell you, now I was mentioning before about Def Leppard playing at Exit 111. Huge artist compound, 8 trailers or whatever they had in their compound. It's just what was there for the headlining act each day. So I see Vivian there, and then I said to him, exactly a week later, I'm going to be seeing you at a club with a couple hundred people in Tulsa. And sure enough, I did. You got to give big props to Vivian Campbell, man. He is, which people forget, by the way, is still a guy managing and battling cancer. Because that's the thing where he still has to get treatments, all the time. But a guy like that is going from headlining a major rock festival 1 weekend ago to playing for 300 people at a club in Tulsa exactly a week later with Last in Line. And having a blast doing it. Really a lot of respect and credit, because that, when you do that, you're doing that because you love it and want to do it. There's no other reason you're doing that. He probably made more money playing one song with Def Leppard than he even came close to taking home off of one of his Last in Line gigs. But it's, in that case, that's truly about the passion for the music that he's making, and I respect the hell out of that. And Last in Line is killer. Andrew Freeman, an unbelievable singer. Band was great. Great turnout. Great time in Tulsa. And thanks to my friend Doug and DEB for Concerts for having me there in Tulsa on Saturday. And it was great to see Viv and the guys and Vinny and all those guys, Phil Susan and Andrew. Dio Classic, some great new music as well. So one other quick note. I wasn't at this, but a quick mention of this. So the Misfits played at Madison Square Garden on Saturday. I'm personally not a huge Misfits guy, but we've talked about this in the past. It's amazing that they are doing arenas. It's incredible, the business they're doing. Some would say, so even though it's not my personal taste, they're a hugely influential band, and they're one of those bands where the logo and the shirt is maybe more popular than people actually knowing the music. But they headlined the Garden on Saturday night, and some are saying it's probably the last show they'll ever do. There was 30-year history or something like that of them not playing, and apparently there was some legal thing or something which required them to do 10 shows to settle it, and that was the final show? Maybe? Who knows? We'll see. We've learned that nobody officially ever actually goes away, even if they say they're going to. So I wanted to mention that as well, because that was a big event that happened over the weekend.